Welcome, Klein Kane students. Mr. Burnell here. We're going to look at classical India. I know Mr. Anselmi and Ms. Dixon have looked at other civilizations. We're going to look at classical India today, which is the Mauryan, the Kushan, and the Gupta empires. Classical India is important for a couple different reasons, but the main reason is its location. It's located right in the middle of the trade routes. So from China going west, and from Africa, Arabia, and Europe going east. So it's hugely important for not only the Silk Road, but also the Indian Ocean trade. So keep that in mind as we're talking about classical India. So first start off with classical India is the Aryans. The Aryans are important. They start near the Black Sea and eventually work their way into modern day India. They're important for a couple different reasons, but two of the major reasons are the Vedas, which are the edicts or their teachings, which eventually becomes the basis of Hinduism, and the caste system, in which you are born into a caste and you cannot go away from that caste. You can't move up and down. You are born into a caste and you stay in that caste, all the way from the Brahmins to at the end, which are the Dalits or the untouchables. Yep. So, and then we'll also talk about Dharma, that you have to follow your lot in life, or you have to follow your life, whatever caste you're in. You have to follow that, and that is called Dharma. So Hinduism basics, very, very basic level of Hinduism. One is the ultimate supreme being is called Brahma, but it takes many forms. So it's not considered polytheistic because there's not many different gods. There's one god called Brahma, and he takes many forms, so that's pantheistic. So pantheistic, so other gods are reincarnation of Brahma, whether it's Vishnu or Shiva or so on and so forth. It's reincarnated of Brahma, so these gods. So everyone has a soul or Atman, and that is hugely important because your soul goes with you. Your body may die, but your soul continues. Okay, so let's look at how the soul or the Atman comes into play. So Dharma, an action or consequences towards your next life. So it's kind of what you do in life is your karma. So if you have really good karma, if you've lived a very karma beneficial life, then you'll go on and to a higher level of the caste system. If you have a so-so, then you reincarnate at the same level, and then karma is bad, you reincarnate at the lower level. So going back, they do believe in reincarnation as samsara. So born into another form, your body dies, but your soul stays with you, or the Atman. So depending on your karma, decides how you get reincarnated. So the goal, so if you are a Brahmin or the top level of the caste system and you have really good karma over your life, eventually you'll reach moksha or liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from your body. So your soul or your Atman goes to essentially a heaven type place, and it's liberated from your body. So you don't have to live this earthly life anymore. So that's the goal, is the moksha. So the first empire that we're going to look at with India is the Mauryan Empire. Before their decentralized small city-states, Mauryan Empire consolidates these small city-states into one empire. So the founder is Chandragupta Maurya. He is the first true emperor, or first true empire of India is the Mauryan Empire. The most famous leader is Ashoka, and Ashoka is famous for a couple different reasons. First of all, if you look at it, he was a ruthless warrior, leader, expanding consolidated power all the way to here in Pakistan, to Nepal area, and then South India as well. So he expanded the size of the Mauryan Empire through warrior leadership, being a true warrior. Now, the whole Mauryan Empire changes with Ashoka after the Battle of Kalinga. So Ashoka sees the witness to death and destruction and gruesomeness, kind of with the Battle of Kalinga, which is right here. The Kalinganese are hugely warriors. They'll die before they'll give up their land. And so Ashoka witnesses how much death can result from this. The Kalingas are not going to give up. And so they keep fighting and fighting, and death and gruesomeness, so on and so forth. So eventually, after Kalinga, he converts to Buddhism. A couple theories on why he converts to Buddhism. First of all, Buddhism is based on peace. And so one theory is that Ashoka, converted to Buddhism to try and create peace throughout the empire because he expanded enough. Other trained Scots or other scholars believe that he had a true enlightenment and a true calling. So kind of the Buddhism basics that we're going to look at. As founder is Siddhartha. Siddhartha is an interesting character because he was born and raised in luxury. He was lived a very luxurious life. He pretty much didn't go outside the gate walls. In fact, he never went outside the gate walls. People would bring stuff to him. He'd bring the best scholars came to his house and taught him. He brought the best food, so on and so forth. So he stayed inside the palace gates for numerous years. And eventually, at the age of 29, curiosity got him. He's saying, what is beyond these walls? Let me see what else is going on in life. There's got to be something else. And so when he leaves the palace gates, he sees the untouchables. He sees the sickness, the aging, the death, the poverty of all around him. And so he dedicates the rest of his life to those who suffer. So he leaves the palace, he reaches enlightenment underneath a tree, and he sees the caste system violates human truth. And so in order to find that truth, anyone, and I mean anyone, all the way from the Brahmins to the Dalits or the untouchables, can follow the Four Noble Truths. So kind of upset a lot of people that follow Hinduism is that breaking that caste system. He said that caste system, it violates human nature. That is not what life is. So anyone can reach pure enlightenment, and that pure enlightenment through meditation and through finding the noble truths and following the Eightfold Path can eventually reach nirvana or its higher within their lifetime, not over and over reincarnate, but within your lifetime. When you die, you can reach nirvana if you follow the Eightfold Path and follow the Four Noble Truths. So Ashoka, going back to Ashoka, after the Kalinga, he creates the Mauryan Empire is very peaceful, creates a centralized bureaucracy, builds roads for trade. And the most interesting thing about Ashoka is he creates these rock edicts throughout his empire. And the rock edicts shows what the laws are within the Mauryan Empire. A lot of it's based on Buddhist beliefs. So an example of that is of a stupa or a pillar. Talking about his laws is right there, which is recovered from, I believe this is the one that's in Nepal. Interesting fact is that it was written not only in Sanskrit, but some of them were in Greek and some were written in Aramaic. So there's over 300 places where he put these edicts, whether India, Nepal, Pakistan, Afghanistan, so on and so forth, where they have been found. So this second empire we're going to look at is the Kushan Empire. If you look at the Kushan Empire, the location is hugely important. It's more in northern India, especially along these trade routes. So real quickly, northern India, they become rich enough. They become what they call a contemporary of Rome and China. They become at the same level because of that trade network. They become the same status, I should say, with as far as wealth and so on and so forth. So leaders converted Ashoka's style, which is Buddhist beliefs, and making sure that everybody knows rules and so on and so forth. It is a massive trade stop along the Silk Road in which they earn tons of money, especially Bactria and the Pamir area. So hugely important. Sorry, there's a lot of writing going on there, but hugely important is that area. In fact, if you look at some cool architecture, Bactria is pretty cool to look at. The interesting thing about the Kushan Empire, during this time period, they used the Greek alphabet. Greek alphabet during that time period is a lot like English today. It becomes kind of the de facto trade language, kind of like English today. So that was part of the Kushan Empire. Eventually they fall. And eventually the Gupta Empire takes over. And this becomes a golden age of India. So if you look, not only do you see the Silk Road, but you see the Indian Ocean trade. And the Indian Ocean trade becomes hugely popular because it's quicker and it is less dangerous because of the bandits that are on the Silk Road. So sea trade routes become hugely popular because, especially since the technology increases during this time period. So it becomes massive trade, the center of trade, whether it's silk, cotton, spices, rice going from East Asia to the West, or ivory, gold, wheat, horses going from Arabia, Africa, and Europe and going east. So innovations and achievements during this time period, the numbering system of 0 to 9 and the idea of place value. So if you're a mathematician or you really like math, you would love the Gupta Empire because the systems that we still use today, numbering, the idea of place value, They inoculations to prevent diseases. So you give you a little bit of a disease in order to build your immune system. That was kind of going on during the Gupta Empire, and the foundation of the earth was round and not this flat earth, but the concept that the earth was round. Another part of the Gupta Empire is that the movement back to Hinduism, and that's why the majority of today of India is Hindu, is because going back to Gupta Empire, they go from the Buddhist empire of the Kushan and the Mauryan dynasty back to Hinduism during the Gupta Empire. Eventually, the fall to the white nuns, and they become decentralized for a long amount of time until the Islamic rulers come in, and that's when we're going to start off with India during our class time. So hope all is well. Please stay safe. Take care of each other.